Hey everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into International TEFL Academy's Facebook Live today. I am so excited to talk to you guys today and our three ambassadors who are currently teaching in Asia and online. This is near and dear to my heart because I also taught in Asia myself. I'm a student affairs advisor here, but I taught in Asia as well as I currently teach English online. So we're really excited to talk to you about these different markets and what our ambassadors do. So we are currently tuning in from Chicago, but we actually have our ambassadors who are in Asia. We have one who is in Japan, one who is in Vietnam, and one is in Thailand. So girls, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Amanda, let's start with you. Where are you currently? And yeah, what are you doing over there?
All right. Well, hi, everyone. So I currently live in Da Nang, Vietnam. And I teach English full-time online with VIP Kid. So I actually don't teach in a school at all. I actually haven't taught in a school ever. So I kind of took things in a little bit different path. But my boyfriend and I both teach for VIP Kid, and we travel around to different countries. So we typically live in them for about 3 months at a time.
Wow, that is definitely the life. All right, that sounds pretty awesome. All right, let's go over to Amber.
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm originally from East Coast in America, and right now I'm in Tokyo, Japan, teaching little cute Japanese 4-year-olds. And I've been at this school for a year, but I've taught many jobs in Japan. I've taught at a language center when I first got here. I taught in public schools for a year as well, and then now I'm at my current position. So
that's amazing. Wow. How long have you been in Japan?
3 years.
3 years.
Wow.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. Perfect. All right. And then we're going to go over to Summer.
Hi, everyone. So I'm living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I teach kindergarten, but it's more like what we think of preschool. It's 3- and 4-year-olds. So I teach at a private Thai school where the kids are in their Thai classroom and then come up to my class for English class. But it's full time. And yeah, I love it.
That's perfect. And how long have you been there?
I've been here for 8 months.
Nice. Very good. Are you thinking of staying on?
I'm not sure yet. That's making that decision this month. Yeah.
You still have time. Well, that's fantastic. So it looks like I said, you guys are kind of all over working with different age groups, which is really exciting. You know, a big question that we get is, you know, how do you even start doing something like this? Was this your background? You know, things like that. So can you girls tell me, you know, what was your degree in and what made you decide to go and teach English abroad? Let's start with Summer.
Yeah, so I was a biologist. Wildlife biologist in California, where I'm from. So my degree was environmental management and protection, and started studying wildlife biology, got hired as a biologist, worked full-time for a few years, and I kind of did the high school, college, immediately started working full-time route. Never really traveled. I wanted the opportunity to study abroad and never really happened. And so a couple years into working full-time, I was like, I want to live abroad. I just want a new experience. I wasn't ready to have the same full-time job for my whole life. So yeah, so that's kind of what landed me in teaching abroad, and I'm glad that I did.
That's awesome. And I totally get that, you know, like being in an office, the 9 to 5 can be draining, especially when there's a whole world out there. So going to explore that, you know, I definitely understand. How about you, Amber?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to Summer, I guess. I was in an office job after college. I was doing Excel spreadsheets and 9 to 5, had 10 days paid vacation, and to get off of work was always a hassle. My boss never really wanted me to take off for as long as I wanted to. So I never thought I could or would be good at or would like teaching at all, but I've really fallen into the role. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
That's awesome. What about you, Amanda?
I have a degree in journalism / graphic design, so nothing to do with teaching either at all. And I did a similar path where as soon as I graduated, I got a corporate job. So I was actually working in IT sales and recruiting. So nothing to do with my degree or with teaching. So just a little bit all over. And I have moved around my entire life, and I lived abroad a little bit growing up. And then I actually did an internship in Thailand where I did marketing and graphic design. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest specifically in Asia, as well as I just knew I wanted to live abroad. I just didn't know how. So we basically worked a little bit in our corporate jobs and started planning and saving up. And then we just decided to start off in Thailand, where I had done my internship.
Wow, that is fantastic. And yeah, you guys said you came from all walks of life, which is really nice because a lot of people think that you do need to have a degree in education to go ahead and do something like this. As you guys can attest to, you don't, which is really exciting. Obviously you need something like a TEFL certification. So obviously we are at an International TEFL Academy. We provide 2 different options for you to take a TEFL course. You can do an on-site course or you can do an online course. What did you guys take when it came to picking out your TEFL certificate and certification? What did you guys do? Amber?
I did the online course. I think if you were working full-time like I was, it's the best route. I was able to work and save money and plan for my trip since this was my first time ever in Asia and first time moving abroad. So yeah, the online course was the best fit for me to prepare for teaching.
That's awesome. And you're right. If you're working full time, doing that online part-time option is such a way to go because you can still work, save money to go on to your next adventure. Awesome. What about you, Amanda?
Super similar. So I was still working in my 9 to 5, and I also wanted to just get this done ahead of time and make sure I was saving money and preparing. So I did the online course as well while I was still working, and it was so manageable. It was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Summer?
Yeah, I had the same experience. I did the online course while I was working full time. My boyfriend was in grad school and finishing up his last year of his master's. So we both took the online course and it worked. I mean, it was great. It was perfect with our schedules.
That's perfect. That is, like I said, the really nice thing is, doing the online course, you can still, have your life at home while you're preparing to make that big leap abroad. And speaking of that big leap abroad, what drew you guys to Asia? I mean, it makes sense, Amanda, because you had your internship in Thailand, but Amber, why Japan?
I get this question all the time. My favorite question. I don't have a direct path for why, but I was really, really into Zen and meditation. And so out of all of the Asian countries, I was most drawn to Japan. They have a long history in Zen and meditation, and I wanted to study that and really immerse myself in that culture. And I'm glad I did. I learned a lot. Everything is Zen and meditation, even things that you don't think of in Japan. So it's really cool to see in everyday life how they incorporate it.
That's awesome. That is definitely a side that I've never heard of. That's what drew you to Japan, which obviously, that is a big part of it. So that's really cool. I didn't know, a lot of people are like, oh, anime or culture, things like that. That's a really, the food. No, I love that. That's really cool. What about you, Summer? What drew you to Thailand?
I think I was drawn to Chiang Mai specifically. I'd had a few friends who had done backpack trips through Southeast Asia, and everyone came back having the best things to say about Chiang Mai. And just, everything from the beautiful nature and food, and it just seemed like the right community. And I was living in a big city back in California, and I wanted something smaller, but didn't want to live in a rural town. And it just seemed like it'd be the right balance. So I only applied to jobs in Chiang Mai and kind of had that as my direct focus.
Wow, that's awesome. I personally love Chiang Mai as well. It's definitely a lot more relaxed compared to, Bangkok. So that's perfect. Yeah. Well, making that leap into Asia is definitely no easy feat. I remember if you had told me right before I went to Asia that I was going to go, I would have laughed in your face because I was never drawn to that. I was, Europe. I did. I taught in Europe, and then I was like, okay, I want a new adventure. And I loved it. And something that I could not get over when I moved to Asia was the hospitality and how welcomed I was as a teacher. Can you guys touch on that? Like, how is the hospitality in your respective countries, and how is your reception as an English teacher? Summer?
Yeah, so people in Thailand, I think, are known for being extremely friendly, and that's totally been my experience. So I teach with a Thai co-teacher, and I have like 5 or 6 Thai co-teachers that I teach with every day, and they're the sweetest people, and I am spoiled to work with them. And then now it's the holiday season. I've been getting tons of gifts from my students and their parents, and it's just, from like the first day, I felt extremely welcomed, and people were happy that I was here. It couldn't have been better, honestly.
I love that. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think when you talk about hospitality in Asia, your mind goes to Thailand, and definitely probably in Japan as well, being polite and kind. Amber, how were you received when you went over there?
Yeah, so when I visited Thailand, I definitely felt the hospitality for new people, like strangers. They're really open. Japan's a little bit more closed off. They're nice, but as far as like inviting you into their home, it takes a little bit. But once you become friends with somebody that's Japanese, like you're best friends, and they will give anything for you. They're really, really nice once you get past the barrier, the initial barrier. So.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly how it is in Hong Kong as well. At first, it's kind of like testing things out. That's where I taught. And, then once you made that connection, friends for life, which is something that I love. So I think it's a really good point to make. And Amanda, I know it's a little bit different because you teach English online, but you have been experiencing different cultures as you travel throughout Asia. So what is it like, a foreigner traveling, teaching online, experiencing these new cultures?
Yeah, so for a quick summary, so far recently I've lived in Thailand, Taiwan, and Vietnam is where I am right now. So I have to say, like, Thailand wins hands down. I mean, I have so many stories of just like strangers and like how nice they are to you. So Thailand is definitely like the most hospitable people. Taiwan, I think, might be a little bit more similar to Japan, as people are a little bit more reserved, but at the same time, we still met so many people who would go out of their way without knowing any English and just help us. I would say Vietnam has been the most, not quite as polite as some of the other countries, but I will say that as soon as someone asks what I do and I say I'm an English teacher, all 3 cultures are just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I feel like it's so respected over here.
Yes, I agree. I could not believe the respect for teachers because, coming from the States where unfortunately there's not a lot of respect and, they kind of get the short end of the stick, which is really unfortunate. Going over to Asia where we are revered, it's such a good profession. We're so respected. The kids are usually so fantastic in class. It was a big eye-opening experience for me. So I'm sure for you guys as you experience it in your classrooms and then as walking down the street and talking to locals, which is really cool. And something that Amber that you touched on that I really like to talk about is making friends when you are going abroad and traveling and things like that. A lot of people are like, hey, Amanda, you're lucky you're doing this with your partner. Some people have to do this solo, and people are like, how do I make friends? So can you guys kind of touch on that, what it's like breaking into either local friend groups or even expat groups, or, maybe you have friends at ITA, that you've met during this. Summer?
Yeah, so I did move over with my boyfriend, and we teach at the same school, but we have met tons of people that just we work with. So our school has 5,000 students and like 25 English teachers. So there's a lot, and a lot of them are our age and are in really similar situations. So a lot of our good friends are coworkers. And then something that I totally didn't expect for a way to meet people, because I was not into sports at all in the United States. But we've been playing like pickup ultimate frisbee and badminton, and have met like the coolest Thai people this way. And so we've met like a lot of local friends and stuff with these pickup games. And it's all just like Facebook events and organized that way and stuff. And yeah, I totally wouldn't expect that for myself, but I'm really enjoying it.
That is so awesome. Facebook is such a great way to, meet other expats, but locals and things like that. That's so cool. But I need to backtrack. Did you say your school has 5,000 students?
Yeah, it's enormous. So it's kindergarten through the end of high school. It's a big private school. Yeah, it feels like a college campus.
I was going to say, that kind of sounds like a small college here in the States.
Yeah.
How many students do you teach at a time?
My biggest class is 18, so it's still really small.
Oh, 18 with 5,000. Okay. I was expecting you to say, 50. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sorry, jumping back to the friends. How about for you, Amber, in Tokyo, being in such a massive city?
There's so many expats in Tokyo, like any big city. So my first year here, I worked at a language center, like I said. So everyone that I work with is a foreigner. So I quickly got in this kind of bubble, I guess, of having many friends, like easily making friends. My friends introduced me to their friends, but they're all expats. So it wasn't until my second year I started making friends with more Japanese people. Sometimes I would just go out, and when people drink, they talk more, they get a bit more friendly. So I would make friends sometimes like that, or through my school, working with the Japanese staff or the Japanese teachers, we'd go out sometimes. And then now my boyfriend is Japanese, so I meet a lot of his friends, and his family is very welcoming too. So yeah, it took me about the second year though before I started really having more local friends compared to expats.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that too. When I was in Hong Kong, the first year, everything is new, exciting. You're surrounded by, other foreign teachers just like yourself. So it's easy to get into that bubble. And then by the second year, I was like, okay, I can start branching out. I know, Summer, you said that you started doing sports and things like that. For me, a big key was joining Meetup, which is a fantastic website with locations all around the world where people make groups. Maybe you want to do ultimate frisbee, or maybe I was in a group that was French, English, Cantonese speakers. So we would practice English, French, and then I would just set out the Cantonese portion because I didn't know anything, but we would just sit there so I could practice my French skills. I was in a hiking group. There was one that they watched Seinfeld every week. There's just all these random things on Meetup, which is a great way to, kind of get into the community. And Amanda, traveling around 3 months at a time, I know you have your partner and things like that. What do you do to kind of make that community where you are at the time?
Yeah, so that has definitely been a challenge to teaching in a school, is especially for meeting some more local friends. So one thing that we do, just anywhere that we move, we join Facebook groups, which I know y'all have already mentioned, but they are like so key, and we meet a lot of really cool people on there. And then also, we've actually met some really good friends who we're now planning on traveling with, and even like maybe moving in with, that we've met through ITA. And we were just basically like kind of friends over Instagram, because we always would see each other on ITA's stuff. So that's been really fun. I've gotten to meet up with quite a few people that way. And then locally, because we move around so often, I feel like we haven't gotten a chance to make real friends, but we've actually like met some people who we see on our daily basis at like coffee shops and stuff, who just want to practice their English with us, and we have made some kind of like friends that way that we'll go get coffee with and speak English with them.
Oh, I love that. I mean, there's so much that I love about that. First, the fact that, you made friends with other ITA students, so other International TEFL Academy students from our Instagram. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, if you haven't seen our Instagram, I highly recommend checking it out. I mean, we have Amanda on there, Amber on there, Summer on there, and all of our other ambassadors, as well as other students that take our course. But you also mentioned Facebook groups as well. International TEFL Academy has a wide array of alumni groups for our students who take our courses, for you guys to connect and get in touch and hang out, just as Amanda said, which is pretty awesome. But also going to the part, if you're going to live that nomadic lifestyle, which is becoming really appealing to people who do want to kind of travel and have the travel bug, believe me, I get it, teaching English online, going to the same coffee shop or something like that that is how you will meet the locals and kind of get that day-to-day life. So I love that, you and your partner are doing that in wherever you guys are. And hopefully you guys will do that when you guys are in Bali.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, kind of then switching back to the teaching aspect, I know we've kind of touched on, where you guys are working, who you're working with. Let's just expand a little bit more. Tell us, maybe what your day-to-day is, what type of school you might be working at, your hours, things like that. And I know, Amanda, let's talk about teaching English online. For me, since we work for the same company, I have to get up really early in the morning. I think you have some nice hours when it comes to teaching. Want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. More power to you, because those are some early hours. So since I'm in Vietnam, all of the times for VIP Kid are on Beijing time. So I'm only an hour different. So it's super, super easy. So most of my teaching hours are in the evenings. The main hours during the week are from 5 to 8 p.m. And then all weekend long, all during Saturday and Sunday, is kind of like the hot spot to teach, because a lot of the kids really spend their weekends learning extra English. So I changed my schedule up a decent amount, but I would say on a most consistent basis, I teach almost all of my hours on the weekend. So I kind of jam-pack the weekends and have really, really long days. And then sometimes I'll teach, maybe 1 or 2 other evenings, just depending on the week. So I teach about 15 to 20 hours a week.
And you can live comfortably in Asia with that?
So comfortably. I have student loans. I never second guess a second coffee, and I save money.
You can never second guess a second cup of coffee in Vietnam. I will say that.
No. Oh my gosh.
Guys.
If anyone comes to Vietnam, try coconut coffee and try egg coffee.
Oh,
so good.
Man, we're talking about shipping food. Can you ship me some of that too?
Right?
That's awesome. Amber, yeah, so you've kind of done a wide array of jobs in Japan, different schools. What are you currently doing now?
So now I'm at the kindergarten, international kindergarten.
Cool. And so how does that work with your day? What hours are you working? Are you working on the weekends? I'd assume no.
Yeah, so you have national holidays and weekends off, and just crazy all during the day. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I work 8 to 5 personally, but there's other shifts like 9 to 6 or 10 to 7 if you're not a morning person. But it's pretty busy in the morning. The morning is when you have your class where you teach English. And then in the afternoon, it's more kind of childcare until the parents pick them up. So just having that immersion with an English speaker, so playing and maybe if they're struggling in a certain aspect, you kind of get them caught up in math or writing or something. But yeah, always interesting, that's for sure, working with 4-year-olds.
Never a dull moment when working with kids. Believe me, I have so many stories. But that's what's exciting about teaching is you never know what you're going to get. Every day is different, which is it's not monotonous like working in an office 9 to 5 sometimes. So perfect. And Summer, I know that you work at a giant school in Thailand. It's a private school. Now, can you kind of describe what a private school is in Thailand? Your hours, things like that.
Yeah, so I think it probably varies school by school, but my hours, I work 7:50 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, but I have a 2-hour lunch because the kids nap every day from 12 to 2, so it's not too bad. And then I teach 1 to 2 hours a day in 30-minute classes, and then I also help the kids kind of little 30 to 45-minute chunks throughout the day, and then the rest of the time is my free time. So my schedule is a lot of these, I'm here for 30 minutes, I'm there for 30 minutes, then I have a 45-minute break, and so I'm kind of moving all around. So I help the kids at lunch, I help them when they get up from nap and they get dressed, and then they have snack, and so I'm in their Thai classroom during those times, and just some more English. It's actually, they pick up a lot from just routine stuff of me just continuously talking to them in English, and it's super fun. And then they come up to my own classroom for these 30-minute periods of English. So yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. So it's definitely, very different for every place. Some similarities. Myself in Hong Kong, I worked at a private language institute, and so I was there from 9:30 in the morning, 7:30. They were coming to additional classes, so I was only seeing them maybe an hour twice a week. And I had different students. So it's really interesting the different opportunities when you are teaching in Asia, because you can have everything. You can have a private school, you can have a private language institute, you can have a public school, you can teach online, there's different varieties, that you can do, which is pretty awesome. So kind of sticking with that, a lot of people ask how to find a job. It is so daunting, the thought of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to move to another country. I need to find a job. What if I don't find a job? Some people find jobs on the ground. What does that entail? Things like that. So can you guys kind of tell us how you found your job, Summer?
Yeah, so when I was researching beforehand, before I moved here, everything I read was you find a job on the ground in Thailand, because they don't do a lot of the high tech stuff, and you can't really Skype interview and stuff. But I was super determined to have a job lined up before I moved there. And it did work out, but I was specifically only trying to move to Chiang Mai. So having that narrow search, there were less options, but still there's a lot of schools here. So I applied online and did hear back from the school that I work at now. Did multiple Skype interviews with a couple managers, and then they did hire me before I came over. But most of my coworkers didn't have that experience. A lot of my coworkers were already here. They were traveling Asia, and they stopped by the school and gave them the resume. So people have definitely different ways.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a place like Thailand, where it is kind of, up in the air. Do you go on the ground? Can you get a job in advance? As you can see, you can. A lot of people do get a job on the ground. And if you're interested in teaching English in Asia, that's definitely something that you should talk to your admissions advisor about, just so you can see, because every market is different. The great thing or the bad thing about teaching English is nothing is the same. There are no rules that are, the same across the board. So definitely if you have any questions about what it comes to getting a job and, what the market's, the hiring seasons, things like that, make sure to contact your ITA admissions advisor. All right, Amber, how did you find your job?
Yes, I definitely, thank you so much to TEFL Academy. They helped me with everything with the resume, and told me about the hiring season for Japan. So a million times thank you. I just shot off my resume to kind of the bigger schools, because I wanted help getting set up with an apartment. And so I went with the kind of bigger language center when I first moved over. And then once you're in Japan with your visa, the company will sort out your visa for you and help you find housing and everything. So you kind of work with your company to do that. But in Japan, I don't recommend getting a job when moving here and then finding a job. It's kind of the opposite of Thailand or Vietnam. So yeah, definitely talk to TEFL before. They're so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That makes, that warms my heart that, you found us useful. For those tuning in, we are International TEFL Academy. We are interviewing 3 of our awesome ambassadors who are currently teaching English in Asia. We offer TEFL certifications and lifetime job search guidance, which is something that Amber touched on. We'll look over resumes, cover letters, contracts, all that jazz to make sure that you're getting into a good situation in Asia or wherever you may want to teach. And that includes teaching online. Now, that is definitely a little bit of a different process. Amanda, can you kind of tell us how you chose to teach English online, and as well as the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really weren't sure. We considered teaching in a classroom actually before we decided on teaching online, and we really just weren't sure if we wanted to commit to one place for a year. We couldn't decide on a country. And so we had heard about VIP Kid first. And then we actually, as we started looking into teaching online, found all these other companies. And ITA actually has this amazing PDF of all the online companies to teach with. Y'all have a breakdown of the pay, the requirements. So we found that, and that was so helpful. And after talking to people, we had a lot of good feedback about VIP Kid. So we actually only decided to apply for VIP Kid, and we were just going to see if we got it and then kind of go from there. So we did get accepted. And it took us a few weeks, the hiring process, but the nice thing is there's a lot of people that teach with it that can like give you advice and help you out on the interview process. But we just knew that we wanted to move around from country to country. And so this would give us the flexibility just because you do have a flexible schedule with VIP Kid, unlike some of the other teaching online platform or companies. And then as far as visa goes, because I know y'all mentioned your visas, because I get that question a lot. So we just have tourist visas for whatever countries we go to. Since we move kind of often, we try to line up when we're moving with when our visas expire. But if we want to stay in a country longer, we basically just have to go on a visa run, which just means that you'll have to leave the country and come back in on a new tourist visa. And it's a very, very common thing to do for people. And it really hasn't been easy. Every country does have different tourist visa processes and lengths. So you have to do a little research, but it's really not that difficult.
That is such good advice, especially for people who, yeah, they're thinking of doing this, but in Asia, typically you're looking at a year contract. And to some people, you know, that sounds daunting. A year abroad? Maybe I've never done this before, never gone abroad. You know, having that flexibility of teaching online where you can be, you know, as you say, 3 months in a country at a time, you know, depending on the restrictions, is a great way to kind of test the waters. And how long did it take you to kind of build up your schedule? That's a big question. You know, a lot of people think that they might be booked overnight. Sometimes that doesn't happen. You kind of have to build up your schedule. So to be able to do full-time what you're doing, how long did that take for you and your partner?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So we applied like 2 months before we planned on moving abroad. And I'm very glad we did, just because the hiring process took like a little longer than we expected, partly on our end. But by the time I got hired, it took me honestly a month before I really had consistent bookings. And there was nothing right or wrong about that. One, being in the US, it was harder to open up more slots because you are waking up so early. But I hear that pretty commonly, that it does take a couple weeks to a month to get a full schedule. So I always recommend people, at least for VIP Kid, because that's my experience, to go ahead and apply while you're still in America and saving money. And then that way you're like ready to hit the ground running when you move abroad. And the other thing with that is you don't get paid right away either. So you only get paid once a month. So you'll get paid the following month for all of the teaching you did the prior month. So you do want to make sure that you have a little bit saved up and that you are having that full schedule so you have enough money to last a little bit.
Amanda, that is fantastic advice, and something that I in the Student Affairs Department will tell my students as well if they're planning to teach English online, but also if they're thinking of teaching in Asia, because often your first month you are working and you don't get paid until the following month. Was that the same for you, Amber, and Summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the good savings. Sure.
Definitely
Yes.
come with startup money. Yeah.
Exactly. That is definitely something that you should keep in mind. We have a fantastic brochure online at internationalteflacademy.com that kind of goes over the country chart for startup costs and things that you might need. But yes, typically in Asia, you might not get paid until about your second month there. So that's something to keep in mind if you are thinking about going to teach in Asia. All right, guys, so this is one of my favorite times. I'm going to kind of pit you guys against each other. All right, I want you in just a couple sentences to tell me why someone should teach in your country or teach online, okay? Or teach wherever you are currently. So Amber, can you give me a few lines on why I should teach in Japan?
So Tokyo is an amazing city. You can get whatever you need, comforts from home or Japanese foods. And the people are very friendly and welcoming, and the kids are really cute. So,
I mean, all right, that's gonna be tough to beat, Summer.
So, Thailand, I think, has the best food. I'm obsessed with it, and everyone always asks me if I get tired of Thai food, and I don't. And I eat at local restaurants every single day, and I love it. It's probably the safest place I've ever been. Literally nothing is stolen, and I've never heard of a single case of like anything going wrong, which is insane. And I leave my motorbike helmet just on my motorbike every day, and nope, nothing ever happens. And yeah, the people are crazy nice, and it's great.
All right. Okay. All right, Amanda, can you beat it? Oh, I think we might be having some technical difficulties. We can't currently hear Amanda. Amanda, can you hear us? All right, we might have to save Amanda's spiel on why we should teach English online. But I will say, I think that is, it's going to be hard. I think what I'm going to have to do is do all of them. All right, so I'll have to go to Tokyo and Thailand and do it all in one big swoop, which is pretty awesome. Amanda will be joining us in just a second. We're just figuring out some technical difficulties. You gotta love it. We're doing this live. This is what happens. And they are, 14 hours ahead of us in Asia. This is bound to happen. All right, Amanda, are you back with us? Nope, not just yet. That's okay. We'll get some things sorted out. No worries, guys.
Can you hear me?
Yay, there we go. All right, Amanda is back. All right, Amanda, got to sell me on online teaching, although I already do it. So
okay. Well, I don't want to be biased, but I think it's the best because you really just get all of the flexibility. You get paid in US dollars, so it all goes right to your bank account, and you really get, if you just want to like hop on a plane and go somewhere, you can. So, I mean, we choose places that are like a low cost of living, but I love the freedom to go wherever I want. And if I want to take a week vacation, I take a week vacation and I'll work double the week before. But specifically, Da Nang has been unexpectedly one of our favorite places we've been because we live right by the beach. It's a smaller city in Vietnam, so it's a little less crazy. And there's a lot of really cool day trips around here as well.
Oh, guys, I can't decide. My coworkers will attest I am one of the most indecisive people ever. So I think I'll stick with teaching English online. And like I said, teach in Japan and Thailand. I can do this for another couple of years. I just want to tell my boss. All right. Perfect. So a lot of questions that we get are, after the day-to-day, things got to happen. Things might not go right in a classroom or you have those funny experiences. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about a funny experience or something that just didn't go right when you were teaching and, how it went after that? Let's start with Summer.
Trying to think. Luckily, with kindergartners, not a lot of things can go wrong, or like people ask me like embarrassing moments. I'm like, you literally can't be embarrassed in front of kindergartners because they're just the silliest people in the world. And like they love when anything goes wrong. Like I can drop a pencil and like the class lasts for like 5 minutes. So, and I haven't had a lot of mishaps. It's nice so I have a max of 18 students. It's me and 2 co-teachers. So there's a co-teacher and then an assistant teacher. So there's a high ratio of adults per students. I don't really have any crazy instances of stuff going wrong. I have like funny stories. Like one of my students recently had I don't know where he's getting this new English from, but I think he's like watching YouTube or hearing stuff. But every once in a while, he's just been like, oh my God. And just like for anything. And he uses it in the right context. And he like cracks me up every time. And I feel like I shouldn't laugh at it, but it's too funny.
No, I love that. But I also like how you said that you could drop a pencil. I would do that all the time, especially just to get their attention. I would just be like, do something funny. They would laugh and they think it's the funniest thing. I'm like, I'm just a real comedian. Yep. Not really, but really 4-year-old, they lit up my life. No, I completely understand. That's awesome. What about you, Amber, in your class? Any, crazy experiences in classroom or funny experiences?
So like I said, I worked at an international school. So it's a mix of Japanese and foreigner kids that are living in Japan. Maybe their parents are working for a Japanese company or something. And we have this adorable Russian girl. So English isn't even her first language, nor is Japanese. But, she's transplanted in Japan and she just like picks up random words. It's really, really funny and adorable. But I thought I was joking around and I was like tickling her and she thought it was really funny. And in the middle of class, I was teaching, I think, math or something, and she just comes up and was like, "I tickle you," and maybe you had to be there, but it was, I'm trying to teach a serious subject. She wasn't having it. It was so.
That is hilarious. That's adorable. You make that connections, especially with the young ones. I mean, that's the thing. And you can't just help but laugh, in those kind of for sure. No, I totally get that. Totally get that. How about you, Amanda? I mean, I know when I've been teaching, I've had things fall on my head and, they dropped a prop. Has anything funny or, have you experienced anything while you have been teaching online?
Yes, definitely. I mean, your students, because it's a little bit different since they're at home and you're at home and you obviously can't like physically be there around them. Some of them will do like the darndest things, but one thing that happened recently that I literally probably tell everyone this story now. So I was teaching a little bit older student, so he had a pretty good English speaking skills. And so we were like just reading a paragraph. He was reading it, and in the paragraph was the word damage. It wasn't even anything that we were learning in particular, but he stopped and he was like, "Teacher, like this word damaged." And he's like, "What does this mean?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like we're learning about, fish or something. Like, I don't know." And so he quoted, he's like, like when you're having a picnic and it rains and you scream, "Damaged." And I was like, oh no, that's not the correct word. And he's like, "What does this word mean?" And I was like, "I'm going to get fired. I can't tell you this word." So that's like my favorite story.
Please continue telling that story because that is amazing. I mean, I think we all have had kind of similar situations. I haven't had that online yet, so I love that. I had a few situations when I was teaching, where I say, "Get out a sheet of paper," because that's so Midwestern, and they'd think I was saying something else. And I'm like, "Oh no," just things like that, or I had to change my vernacular and stuff like that. So completely get it, but I love that. I love little stories like that. That's what makes teaching so fun and exciting. And like I said, different from the day to day. Nothing's the same. Awesome. Well, I know it is getting really late where you guys are, so I'm gonna kind of wrap it up with one more question. Basically, if someone was sitting here watching this today, thinking about getting TEFL certified or wanting to teach in Asia, what are your words of wisdom or advice that you'd give to these students? Amanda?
Yeah, so the thing I always tell people when they ask me, they're like, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. And my thing is, like what your life is right now, whether you're working in a corporate job or still in college in America, like what you have right now. And so why not try something else? Like you can always come back to what you have right now. So I always tell people, like, give it a try. Even if you're in a contract, it's not encouraged to break contracts. But again, like you always have the choice to go back. So why not at least just try something new? And all of these other doors open up when you just like go that maybe you didn't even know you wanted to go to Japan, but you tried Thailand and met a friend who taught in Japan and now you're in Japan, It's just, it's so great. You just do it.
Just do it. I love it. It's 2019. It's the start of a new year. Try something new. I love it. What about you,
Yes.
Amber?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Amanda said. You can always go back to exactly what you're doing. And I know it's super terrifying to pack up your bags and move somewhere that you've never been or to a different country. I remember just like packing my bag for Japan and saying, "I can do this. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine." But once you get here, you'll find there's so many people that have done this before you. There's no reason to be scared or nervous. And it's also always encouraged to do things that scare you just a little bit and get you out of your comfort zone. And yeah, your life will always be waiting for you when you get back. So there's no reason to not do it. Just do it.
Exactly. Just do it. And you did it. I mean, you've been there 3 years now, so you can attest to that, especially. You packed that bag, you got on that plane. That's the hardest part, right? Awesome. And what about you, Summer?
So I totally agree. And I think my biggest advice is not to sweat the small stuff, because I was very detailed oriented before I left, which was good, but I wanted to like have everything lined up and like not have like any variables, and I wasn't necessary. Basically, I got here and everything's so doable. Finding housing, like anything you forgot, you can buy here. And I don't know. So I guess just don't worry, and all the small stuff will fall into place, I think.
Definitely. I mean, guys, fantastic advice. I mean, if this doesn't make you want to go out and do what they're doing, I don't know what will. So thank you guys so much. You guys are fantastic. Again, this is International TEFL Academy. These are our amazing ambassadors, ITA ambassadors, who are working for us tirelessly around the world, hosting meetups, giving us photos, doing Facebook Live, social media content, video, and so much more. And speaking of video, guys, we are going to be having our first ever ITA Film Festival. It'll be a Teach Abroad Film Festival. I'm really excited. You might see some submissions from these ladies here. We were trying to convince them earlier. If you would like to submit a video and you are an ITA alum, please make sure you do that by February 4th February 15th, and on April 4th is when we'll be actually having our film festival here in our headquarters in Chicago. We're doing it at a local theater. You can find out more information on our website. Ladies, I cannot wait to see your submissions. Wink, wink. But again, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, Amanda, Amber, and Summer. I really appreciate it. We got a lot of great information from you. Like I said, I'm pumped. I want to go teach wherever you guys are right now. I'm ready to get back to Asia. I'm sure you convinced a few other people as well. But again, thank you so much. I know it's late for you guys, so go get some sleep, and happy teaching tomorrow.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.